Thanks for joining me again on another episode of Griff Guide Podcast. Today I have Nick Williams joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about what it was like to run a business, lose a business during COVID, start a business during COVID. We've pretty much all done those things, so it was a weird time, right?
Yep. No, it was normal. What do you mean? COVID.
You know what I mean, though? Like, being a business owner, it was strange because everybody had money and everybody was home and wanted to do projects. At least for me, I don't know.
Oh, COVID was a big crafting time. I would say DIY.
Crafting.
Yeah, it was big on the. Well, I think we could take that wall down, honey. What do you think?
Yeah, let's just pull a load-bearing wall down.
Sure. I don't like that wall anymore. I took cabinets down myself. I just ripping cabinets down. I did a lot of stuff at home.
Yeah.
During COVID.
A lot of Home Depot trips.
Many Home Depot trips.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, no, it wasn't, it is what it is. I ran a different business at the time. I was running a interior design and construction company. And it's just January. We started in 2019 and we did very, very well. And January 1st of 2020, we were on track. We were projecting a $5 million year. And by March 13th, we had no clients and we lost the business.
Holy, that quick?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what happened, or was it just because?
Yeah, I think it was probably COVID.
No, I understand that, but at the
Listen,
same...
I'm going to give you wanted me on your show, kid.
No,
it's
you're
still
right.
Gonna be
yeah,
me.
no, I know,
come on.
I know,
like,
you're right. You're not going to change.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So the problem was, the way that we had the company set up was that we were interior designers and project managers, because I'm not licensed to do construction of any kind.
Right, so you were subbing it out?
Subbing everything out, and we did project management. So instead of having the client have to call in an interior designer who's going to pick out the finishes and kind of be there throughout the process, but not have any say on anything. So my concern was, okay, we pick out this color, these finishes, this tile, and then the client would have to, in a normal sense, the client would then have to call the tile guy and set that up, and then call the plumber and set that up. Right,
and you would just do all that.
And I said, listen, I want to be a one-stop shop kind of person so that the client can call me, and I know how I run shit and communicate with people.
Right. So
for me, it was more like, I'm not worried about first of all, people in trades, they're my people. I don't have issues with people in trades at all. And what I mean is, I'm sure you've had them before, right? No naming names, but just the general public clients, sometimes they can kind of suck. Not always, but there are.
Yeah, you get a handful.
Yeah, that suck.
We have a handful, absolutely.
So the tradespeople were pumped that this was the situation that I was starting.
Yeah.
They were like, we don't have to talk to clients?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you don't have to. But I mean, it's still me, right? So you have to do your job, or I'm going to come down on you too.
Yeah, it's got to be right.
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 And I was the controller of I was the treasury department as well. Right. So the clients would pay me. I'd hold all the money in escrow and pay it out as needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the client didn't have to do anything. He wrote one check.
Right.
1, 2, 3 checks, depending if we split it up that way. But the problem and the reason that we lost the business during COVID was because, we had just started a year prior. We started in May of 2019 with no construction experience whatsoever. It was okay, we're going to do a business where we're interior designers. And then it was basically just talking and communicating. If I hire professionals that are insured and know what they're doing, it won't be an issue.
Right.
The problem with COVID was that, I was we were marketing ourselves as interior designers and project managers, and people wanted a handyman. Oh, people wanted a plumber.
Right.
People want for this one little thing, because we don't know what's going to happen. So instead of taking on, a $480,000 project in Marblehead where it's a complete gut reno, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Everybody kind of went down to, I can paint that wall myself.
Right.
I can't do the plumbing, so we'll call you.
Yeah.
I can't do electrician stuff, so we'll call an electrician.
Yeah.
And that's kind of and then it just fizzled out. It was gone. And it was crazy because it happened in 15 days. It was January, we were on a project. February, we were on a project. And then March 1st, and then like things started. It was like a little weird.
It was getting weird.
Like, hey, how about we just like hold off on this one thing?
Yeah.
And then there were clients that were like, "Yeah, we're probably gonna pause on everything, so we can just take our deposit back from the." And it just everything fizzled out immediately, and we were able to kind of like save. Like at the time I was a homeowner and stuff, and I didn't lose my house, because of COVID. I sold it, and I sold it in 2021.
Right.
But like you kind of go into a mode of like, okay, I'm doing everything legit.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything the best way I can. I don't know how many phone calls I can take, how many phone calls I can make every day, but it's also understandable that people don't want random people that they don't know inside of their house.
Right. With the unknown of, hey, what does this virus do?
Spreading.
Yeah.
At the time it was,
right.
It was like I would say from March to like June, it was a little like, what do we do? Like, is everybody going to die or what?
I feel like I stopped giving a after like April.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm talking about same.
The general public.
The public perception.
Yes.
From the business side of things, I'm like, I'll die. I have to work. I have to pay bills.
Yeah.
So like, I don't care.
Yeah.
By the end of March, because of that sentiment about people not wanting random people in their house.
Yeah.
By the end of March, I had called my old real estate agent who sold me my house and said, how's it going? And he said, nobody wants to do home tours right now. Like everything's at a standstill. I said, okay, so how about this? How about we do video home tours with you being like an HGTV kind of guy? I'll film everything for you.
Yeah.
Put these all together. I said, I'll do all your videos for free
as
long as you tell everybody in the office that I'm the only video guy that you want to use. And then I'm not going to do their videos for free.
Yeah.
But like if you promote me, right? 25 agents within a month. I mean, I was back in a totally different business. And then I realized that, like, for me anyway, the only reason I was able to start the interior design business was because I was working with somebody who had knowledge of interior design.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. And all I did was build a website and do all of our promo videos and do all of the media work.
Right.
And that I had been doing since I was like 11.
But the media work's the important part.
Well, the media work is that's what I love.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I've always been into that kind of stuff.
So you really didn't, you jumped into that and you really were like, I mean, cool. I don't know about construction, but I can make this kick website and all this cool media that'll push us in the good direction.
That, and I was confident because I had knowledge of, business documents and being able to talk to, I'm very big on like CYA, like cover your ass.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like, I don't go into things like not having either a backup plan or something to like, no, I don't want to say fall back on, but like if I don't know something, I will research it until I know everything about it, and then I might do like a little bit of it.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I will, because I worked in the car business and I did sales and everything, which was fine. But then when you go to finance, 'cause I got promoted, I was a finance manager, and like I was told, I mean, it was enough to freak me out at 21 years old when I got promoted. But it was, I was told that because you're dealing with people's social security numbers and credit and stuff like that, that if you mess around and leak their information, not that I would ever do this.
Who the fuck?
But it's in the training. They're like, if you leak the information, if you steal someone's identity, if you do any of this stuff, the dealership doesn't get in trouble.
You do.
You go to jail. Like, that's it.
No shit.
You can't steal people's identity, bro.
No, I understand
mess
that.
around with social security numbers. So, but the dealership has no, they can tell you don't do that stuff, but it's not like you're sitting there with a shackle on your, you know what I mean?
True, yeah.
They don't control what you do. So why would it be under their liability? And I was working at a very, very high volume dealership in New England where I personally was dealing with hundreds of clients every month. So it's kidding. Like, oh yeah. And trying to sell warranties and all that other stuff. But then on top of that, you have so much paperwork and there's just a lot of like, okay, when I was doing the interior design construction thing, and I'll talk forever, so shut me up because this is what I do.
You're good.
But when I was doing the construction thing, when I was establishing it, every time a client had a question of any kind that I couldn't answer, I would be like researching it, and then I would create forms and documents and things for them to sign, and I would look through and say, okay, these are the terms and conditions. And then clients would say something like, oh, well, blah, 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 can you do this instead? And I would say, well, no, we don't do that. And they said, well, it's not in your terms and guess what it was the next day?
Yeah, then now
you know
it's
what I
in
mean.
there.
So now it's in there, and
Yep.
so by the time that we had actually like grown and done really well, it was. And I'm talking about over the course of a month, because when I started calling immediately. I just start calling everybody, and I would go so far as to call countertop supply houses and plumbers and everything, and say, hey, I know you don't know me. My name's Nick. I just started this business. I'm doing this thing. I'd love to work with you. I'm just wondering if I can put you on a preferred vendor list. Like shit like that. You know what I mean?
You made it sound like super duper. The whole thing was just you had a system that was super
me
legit.
In
it
the
was
second
legit,
bedroom of my house. It was legit.
Yeah,
but it wasn't pretty.
Right. No, but you were able to kind of give it that flair, like, hey, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, right.
You gotta There's got to be a little bit of magic, or you're gonna,
Otherwise, people are just gonna be like, oh, fuck this guy. He doesn't even he has no clients. He has nothing going on. He just started the business. You call me and say preferred vendor list. I go,
sure.
Okay. Like, this guy's got something here.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of sales. It's a little bit of magic, and it's a lot of cover your ass and a lot of fucking hard work.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you're doing things legit, or you're just gonna. The thing is like, it's not. I don't want to say like you have to be fake. But first of all, if you have any kind of business and you're calling around looking for clients or anything, and you can't get them excited about what you're doing, right? Whether it's a vendor thing or if it's the general public, if you can't get that person excited on the phone and wanting to work with you over somebody else, because a lot of people, I'm sure as you know, have people already.
Oh yeah.
If you're talking to if a 50-year-old man or woman homeowner calls you because they have a septic problem or there's an issue with their plumbing anywhere.
Yeah.
Chances are they've probably used a different plumber at some point in their life.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, people usually already have somebody.
Yeah.
Or their mom has somebody, or their dad has somebody.
Yeah, or their grandfather has some guy.
Or their grandfather used to be this with a that, with a thing, with a whatever, And so it's like, how do you talk to somebody who they don't even know what you look like? It's on the phone.
Yep.
How do you talk to somebody? How do you get involved with this community of people as a person saying that you want to be the delegator, the guy on top
tier,
with no experience, no nothing? You got to build a team. You got to build a team of people. And the cool thing is, so you become my preferred plumber.
Yeah.
Right? I toss you 2-3 jobs. And now you have a cousin or an aunt or an uncle or this person who wants to renovate their whole house. Who are you going to call? Especially if my whole motto is I'm going to defend my team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not customers, right? But like, you got to make sure that they're not just, well, that plumber, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, settle down. Those are my guys.
Yeah.
And I'll do everything to help you out, but you got to help me out too.
Right.
Everything's a team effort. Everything's a team environment, including here.
Yeah.
There's nothing that any like Max or Josh or anybody here does that I can't or wouldn't do myself, because I've done it before we hired them. I was doing it.
But that's what makes you a good boss and a good leader, to be able to say like, hey, Max, you got to hit X, Y, and Z buttons to make this work, and this is why. And you give him an explanation, and then he's like, all right, fucking cool. Like, that's my job now. Right? Good at delegating, good at getting them pumped up.
Sure.
Like,
I try and keep it light for the most part. And I'm sure that Max can say stuff about this.
Extremely light.
But I try and keep it light. And then the thing is, though, I bring down the hammer as hard as I possibly can. You know what I mean? And as ruthlessly as I possibly can. Because I think I get emotional about it, which I've been working on a lot. I'm a lot better than I used to be now in my old age of 30. I'm not kidding. I used to be a frigid
hothead.
Really quick, really short fuse.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not advantageous to anything.
No.
But at the same time, because I keep it so light in my work environments with my employees or with the people that I'm working with.
Yeah.
When a person I'm working with screws up in a big way that could have been avoided, what it does is it tells me that you don't give a fuck about me. As a boss, as a person providing income.
Yes, that is true.
And I don't mean like you accidentally, like if you're carrying a really important vase and you trip and fall, okay, fine. But did you have to be texting at the same time?
Right.
Did you have to be talking, dancing, singing,
right.
being a moron?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Did you need to be on your phone while you were servicing this heater?
Right, because
I'm
I'm
running
not
into that shit all
I'm
the time.
not like a complete dictator asshole.
Right.
Like, I will go to the ends of the earth to support you, or I'll fucking buy lunch every day. Like, I'll do whatever it takes.
But it's the mutual, like, employee-employer, like, working relationship into the mutual respect side of things.
Right. Yeah. Not to get into, like, crazy stuff in the weeds here, but, like, if you're showing up every day, don't come to me at the end of 6 months and be like, I want a $50 promotion. Like, it's not happening.
Right.
You don't even have enough respect from me to show up on time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and then if I'm in a situation where I'm not the person with the purse, right? If I'm not the person with the money, how do I justify that on anybody else's behalf? Like, how if you're being a dick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. It's like, I just don't respect anything that you do. That's how I take it.
Yeah.
And so it's really quick to fly off the handle.
Yeah.
You know what
that makes sense. I feel like it does come with age, though, because you look at at the kids that are like 22, like
21,
22.
Yep.
They're actually fucking animals. And like, I truly do not believe that like our generation of people acted like that in that manner. And that's why I won't hire younger kids.
I think we were raised differently. Like, I was raised differently than my sister, who was 5 years younger than me.
Yeah. I just don't understand where the disconnect is, because it's like those kids literally could give a fuck less if you die in a parking lot, like right in front of them. They're like excited about it.
Right. I get that.
It's weird.
I get that. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot. I get the feeling that there's a lot of sense of it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Nobody gives a fuck.
It doesn't matter what's going to change. Like, there's no drive today, from what I see.
Yeah.
Right. And like, as an example, I have Max and Josh that work here.
Right.
I interviewed 40 people. 40 people, and I hired these two guys. And one, I hired Max because he's a very handsome young man and a brilliant conversationalist, and it's helpful. And the job isn't brain science.
Right.
Brain surgery, rocket science, whatever. Brain science.
Brain science.
You like that?
I do. We'll coin that.
And Josh in the back, who does a lot of the editing, is very interested in just doing it right. And figuring it out.
Yep.
But I interviewed 40 people, and some of them were okay, I guess, but across the board they're all young, early 20s, and just here's the thing, because this is like essentially a startup, right?
Yeah.
I run my company out of here. You have Alexis and her company, me and my company, and then you have this third company, which is like this weird third-party incestual kind of being that we've created when we made this space.
Right.
That's fine, but that being the case, you need the people who work here to like kind of drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's true.
It's nothing right now. We need to make it something.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing in my business, Nick. Even at the size that we're at right now, it's very much like, hey guys, like, not even drink the Kool-Aid, just like get behind the cause.
That's all it is. Well, that's what I mean by drinking
when
the
you
Kool-Aid.
say drink the Kool-Aid, it sounds like you're selling them something that's not like,
Well, because you know why? Because I'm selling, when you come to work for me, I don't want to replace you. So I want to work with you in 20 years when we have 7 buildings and 50 sets.
Right, and you're a manager and doing
head of a department, whatever. So I'm a big dreamer.
I hear you. Absolutely.
Like, I want the most, and I understand that it's going to take a minute to get there. Like, I get these things, and I'm willing to put the work in.
Yep.
And if you don't see the vision, and if you don't drink that Kool-Aid, right? Yeah. If you don't get on board with what I want to do long term, you're only holding me back.
That's true.
So it's like, for me, from my perspective, it's like, I want to have the warehouses with the sets and the multiple camera setups and the multiple things, so we can be doing multiple things at once.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't believe that that's possible, if you walk in and you go, oh, this douchebag has a little podcast set, a couple of mics and a wall with a TV on it.
Right.
I don't want you working here.
No. That's absolutely true.
Because let me tell you, I started this company, not this company, but I started my company in 276 square feet. I had curtains up and I had all this. I could show you pictures, kid. You'd fucking shit you. So you'd be like, this was a business. Yeah. But when you meet me and you walk in, I hope that I can sell the client on understanding the vision and what we're going to do. And I usually have a portfolio, reels, things to show them. And it just kind of kept growing.
Yeah.
So knowing where I came from and where I'm at now, and where I want to be, it's totally possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just got to believe it.
Yeah.
And you have to put the fucking work in.
Yeah.
That's kind of,
I mean, I drank the Kool-Aid when I came in here and sat down and talked to you for like 10 minutes, and you were like, hey, you should do a podcast. And I'm like, yes, I should do that.
Well, but like, why wouldn't you? You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
Why wouldn't a person?
Well, I think it's funny, though, because in our line of work, like I talk to some of like the bigger industry guys that are much bigger than me.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that like no one's done that yet. That's fucking weird. Like, why would you they're like, all right, weird marketing approach, but I like it. That was pretty much the response that I got out of everybody. They just thought it was very outside of the box, and they were like, we're not really sure how this is going to help you grow your business.
Well, because people think you're going to sit here as a plumber and talk about unclogging toilets for an hour.
Which I'm not going to do.
Well, of course not.
No.
But they don't know that. And so when you tell somebody who's never had that vision before,
right,
or who's never had that experience, and all they do all day is work with plumbing lines, and they think, well, what the fuck are we going to talk about here? People don't think about it on the front end.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't see the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could become, again, I'm thinking out loud here, you could become an authority figure on what's right, what's wrong with plumbing, code, changing code. Like, if all of your viewership is only plumbers for the rest of your life, there's a fuckload of plumbers in the U.S.
There's a shitload, don't get me wrong.
Right?
But I mean, like,
I know it's not what you're looking for.
No.
But what I'm saying is, as an example, if you wanted to talk about pipes all day long, and tubes and valves and all that other shit, there's a market for that. Because you would listen to that podcast because you're a fucking plumber. It may not be the most exciting thing in the world, but I guarantee you, if you have a question and there was a guy out there with 3 million subs who's going, okay, this is what we got to do, blah, 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 blah. And if you're doing this thing and if you're doing that thing, and I had this crazy experience, same as you. When you have a question, you're going to go, I wonder if he talked about that.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
you don't need this idea with podcasting to be like this, as an example with podcasting. To be the person that talks to everybody is this. If that's your goal in podcasting, it's the stupidest fucking thing. On the other hand, if you're too niche down and you only talk about brass pipes, as opposed, and we don't even talk about PVC. Don't fucking bring up PVC on this show as an example, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna lose people there too.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to pick a
middle
genre
ground
and a middle ground.
Yeah.
And not every episode's going to do the same.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to want to see every show.
Yep.
But if your goal is just to appeal to the masses, the problem with it is that you're going to always lose somebody. And think about how divided we are politically. Not to get into politics, but I'm saying like, as a nation right now, if you say one thing that's a little off, you lose half the country.
That's true.
So it's like, if that's the case, and if you're starting from scratch at zero, say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That's my mentality.
I get what you're saying. Absolutely.
So like, if it does, and it really, like, you can give me the most obscure example out there.
Yeah.
For like a position for a person to be in life, I would say, start a podcast. What's the harm?
Yeah, it's true.
What's the harm? And 9 times out of 10, people are going to do 10 episodes, say this is dumb, and then leave anyway. So even if I had 10 clients that were all plumbers, one of them is going to be really successful.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the rest of them are going to go, this pipe connector thing. And then they're going to go, I don't know what else to talk about, and I'm out.
Well, the other thing that you have, too, is in our industry specifically, guys are very quick to write shit off, which I think is wild. Because
write shit off in what respect?
Like, they'll just be like, oh, no, like, my brother carries this attitude. I haven't had him on the show yet. I will at some point. But my brother carries the attitude of, like, if he makes a decision on something, he's just like, fuck that. That's useless. Like, we don't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a type of personality that plumbers have that I can say, like, that personality fits, like, 95% of the guys in our industry. The other 5% are like me and you, where we're like very outside of the box, shoot from the hip, like, let's take some risks and do some weird shit to try to get to the finish line in a different way.
Okay, so I totally agree with you. I would say that the average person who is strategic and wants to grow, like, first of all, there is nothing wrong with saying that I want to open up a sub shop on Main Street in whatever, Main Street, USA, whatever, and I just want to sell sandwiches. That person doesn't need a podcast and doesn't need to be doing TikTok videos every day and, like, trying to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, why not? Why?
Yeah.
Now, if you say, well, I'm happy and comfortable, I've been doing this for 30 years and I don't need to have anybody in, like, I don't need to have more clients.
Yeah.
We'll always need more clients, but what I'm saying is I'm supporting myself
right
off of this thing. there's no shame in just being a business owner and having your clients and running your business and then retiring and selling or leaving it to a relative and then, and then you die. That's it.
Well, you have the dreamers and the guys that are just content with this.
For me personally, no matter what it is I walked in at 19 years old into the car business and said in the interview to the general manager, he was like, what are you thinking about this? I said, honestly, I don't want to work here. And if I do, I want your job. That's what I said, 19 years old. And he looked at me and said, yeah, we can make that happen. We promote from within here. We don't like to hire from the outside. So and it sold me immediately because he saw what I saw.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or at least at the time, he made me believe that he saw
vision.
what I saw. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I figured to myself, why work anywhere? And I feel this way about dating as well. But why work anywhere? Why date anyone if the end goal isn't to be the best on top that you can be?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're dating somebody, why would you... And I don't mean a hookup. I mean, if you're spending money on someone...
Yeah, you're trying to build something.
Why on earth would anyone start anything? Go work somewhere. Go work for somebody.
Yeah.
Why would you start anything and not want to be the best?
Yeah, it's true.
Even if you start a sandwich shop, why would you not want to... What the fuck? What are you going to put on the sign?
Yeah.
Number 20 sandwich in the world. What the fuck is that?
Who's going to go there?
World's best donuts. Or our donuts are all right. Who the fuck's going to go there?
Yeah, no, you're right.
And if your mentality on a business is that we're like, okay, but you're putting out there that you're the best, who's going to believe that? Who's gonna drink that Kool-Aid on a client basis? If you don't believe your own vision and your own shit, who the fuck else is gonna believe it?
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not the best filmmaker in the world, but I do everything in my fucking power to make sure that my shit is as good as it can possibly be.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And if I don't, I will go to the ends of the earth to make it right. That's how I am.
But that's what you're supposed to do. And that's what we do too.
Right, but the thing is, this all goes back to like fucking kindergarten.
Right.
All of this goes back to
do the right thing.
Do the right thing and treat other people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, it's 2 rules. It's not that hard.
You don't see me going up and smacking people in the face when they don't get their job. I go, Max showed up late 1 time or 2 times, whatever it was. I pulled him over and I was like, help me help you. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Do you want it? He goes, yeah, I would love it.
Should I buy you a rooster to wake up in the morning?
Like, what is it going to take? Because I believe that you say you want it. There's obviously something else going on.
Yeah.
And I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm a shit fucking boss. But like, it's not, and he knows this, and I'm not giving him shit, but he knows it's not my job to like wake him up every morning. Right. You know? But see, here's the thing. If I'm older and more decrepit and I'm getting up at 6 a.m. every day. And like, here's the thing. I spent a lot of time in my early 20s because I was in the car business, which was you're there. They tell you it's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Bullshit.
You're there at 7:45 because you got an 8 o'clock meeting.
Yeah.
So like if you are there at 8 o'clock, you're working 13-hour days, 13-plus-hour days. Yeah. And if I can still get up at 6 a.m. and I can tell my friends who text me, so you want to go to the club tonight, you want to go to the bar tonight, whatever it is.
Sure.
If I go, no, I'm probably gonna miss out because I got work tomorrow. The idea that the club or the bar is more important, and you text your boss asking if you can go out tonight so that you don't have to come in early tomorrow, or whatever.
No.
What?
You missed the point.
Fine, but you've completely lost the plot, man.
Yeah,
like you've totally missed the fucking point of what you're supposed to do because the club will always be there. And I'm not one.
Yeah, you're not missing anything either. You're just fucking wasting money. It's like, do you create great memories? Depending on what you define as a great memory, but like, that shit. Like, it's the same note that like all these 21 and 22-year-olds are idiots. Like they got the what is it? FOMO, fear of missing out, right?
Yeah, I guess my thing was yes, you're right. I agree with that. I'm saying that like I feel like they're fearful of missing out on the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. You're like, if you build, you get here.
Right.
Or you go out to the club and be a lowlife and you can just stay right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a hoodlum when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
and
I think everybody was.
Yeah, and since I graduated, so I graduated high school in 2012, and since 2012, I've lost 11 friends my age or within 3 years, up or down. To heroin and or car accidents. 11 open caskets I've been to.
Holy shit.
And that's not all the open caskets I've been to. That's 11 of my friends that I've been to. So it's like,
wow.
You know, it's like, well, do I want to be that?
No.
Do I want a room full of people staring at me going, oh, he could have been.
Yeah.
Could have won that Oscar. He could have been this great thing. Like, I don't want to be the could have been. That's the part that drives me. Is like, I may not make it. I may not be there.
Yeah.
But if I do something dumb, then I'm never going to make it. You know? It's like, and I don't know why that's not the mentality. Like, yes, in the moment, this could be fun to like drink an entire case of beer. But the hurt that comes the next morning from that isn't worth it to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would rather work my ass off now and be in pain mentally, physically, whatever, from, you know what I mean, from being tired or whatever it is, and make $1 billion.
Sure.
Like that, then, because then when you have the $1 billion, you go,
well, then you can just sit back and go,
I'm all right. You know what I
done.
mean? Like I'm cool with that.
Yep.
I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with like, I'll be hungover tomorrow, but it's like Jimmy told me that like if I'm not, you know, the drunkest, then I'm a pussy. And it's like, bro, okay, that, you know what? Then I'm a pussy with my billions.
Yeah.
Like, fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit just doesn't bother me. You're not a tough guy. You're not a cool person.
No.
You're not any better of a human being for just acting like a fucking idiot because it's quote unquote fun in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, where are you when you're 50? And
probably dead.
Well, to the people that I've been to, you know what I mean? Those people, and I don't listen, people go through addiction problems and everything else. Like my friend, I have a buddy whose father passed away because he was driving down a windy road in the rain and crashed his Ferrari into a tree and it exploded.
Wait, Middleton?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. That was your, okay. Wow. Sorry about that.
No, I didn't know the guy. I know his son.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
My, okay.
But just as, but like, so first of all, I would never buy a Ferrari because I don't fit in them. I could buy 2 of them and wear them as shoes.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big dude. It's the shoulders.
No, I know, but are they that tight?
Yeah, pretty fucking tight.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a Ferrari kind of person. I'm like more like a Porsche Panamera. Like my first car was a Lincoln Town Car. 2000. I loved that thing. It was a
those
boat.
are good cars.
It was a boat. I had a 79. I had 2 Lincoln Town Cars. One was a 2000. One was a 79.
That's sick.
I had a 07 Grand Marquis. Like I always went for
like
these
boats.
Like but it's like it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Why the fuck? Why would I want like some people do.
Right.
Like the people that like the sport the like a, I don't know, like a BRZ or like a, you know, STI or like all these different things. Like it's just like the whap whap. That was just never my style.
No, I hear you.
And then on the other side of the spectrum of my friends were the big lifted trucks, huge fat tire guys.
I love that shit.
And I liked it when I was like the passenger princess in their rides. But like, I don't want to buy that much gas. I don't want to have to. All of these guys worked on their trucks and did all that
nonstop.
It's not my and good for them.
Yeah.
Like that's sick because I'll tell you right now. I have one person who's allowed to work on my car. Yeah. Right? Because I don't like that.
Yeah.
Huge, always has had a huge lifted truck, big fat tire. But this guy could fucking take my car apart, screw by screw, piece by piece, lay it all out there, and then I go, hey, I got to leave at 5 o'clock. He'd go, no problem, and put it all back together and give me the car. He's amazing. Savant syndrome with the cars. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
And he's also the first person to call me and go, just so you know I was going to charge you $600 for this thing, but I figured it out. The problem was actually something else, and now it's $250. Name another mechanic you know that's going to go out of their way to try and lower your bill every single time they work on your car.
That doesn't exist.
You see, well, he does. This is my point. I found him and I'm keeping him. He's
no
mine.
Kidding, huh?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I latch on to people like this.
But again, it goes back to the doing the right thing.
Well, yeah.
You found a guy that has similar
If you do the right
ideals.
thing for me, I'm going to do the right thing for you.
Right, actually.
You know?
Yeah. And there you go. Now you're like, hey, you should go to this guy because he's great.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person that'll ask him first. I'll say, hey, do you mind if I give you a number out to somebody else?
Yeah.
You know?
That's when you know you make a good, like, hang on, let me ask him and make sure. When you get that response out of somebody, you're like, all right, that guy's good.
Yeah.
That guy's really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever it is.
Yeah, it's good shit. Keep going, whatever you want. I'll go all day.
I know. We're going to have to keep going anyways. But it's funny, though, to circle back to what you said about when you ran your business, your interior design and contracting business. So your business folded at the same time that mine started.
No shit.
Dude,
you are the type of people that got me out of business.
Yeah, no, probably not. But
I'm kidding.
No, we literally jumped into it. I got laid off from the union March 28th of 2020. And literally like the next week I was doing my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, either that or
and we
you just
stayed busy somehow. I don't know. I think it's because we were in the basement. We were doing repairs and replacements of shit in people's basements, and they were like, all right, cool, you're downstairs, you're wearing a mask, I don't have to see you. Electronic transaction. My thermostat works, yes? Okay, cool. I guess we've just found a way to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But it's weird how the business during that time was either like you folded or you just excelled.
Or you did both, like me.
Oh, yeah, or you did both,
You know?
and you just found something and pivoted, which I feel like a lot of people did that too.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people that pivoted from one business to another, and ended up being wildly successful, like Brunt Workwear.
Mm-hmm.
I think that dude was like a fucking outside super or something, or a general foreman for like a construction company, and said like, hey, let me just start this workwear shit, and now they're like the biggest in the entire country.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, again, pivoting, or I don't know, it was just a strange time.
Well, you got to figure it out. You have to know. I think the only reason that I'm able to do this stuff is because I had a very eclectic upbringing. And what I mean by that is I never played an instrument, unfortunately. I feel like I'm so jealous that I never got to
really
learn how to play an instrument. But I love music a lot. But I will say that like I took art classes, things that were not at school, like not extracurriculars where you had to go in early or go or stay late.
Yeah.
It was like school was never my thing.
Yeah,
I hated school. I thought it was so dumb, and I didn't go to college. And it wasn't that the school itself was dumb. It was more like it says it on my kindergarten report card, loves his neighbor no matter where I move him to. So like, you know, you could put me with the quiet person. All of a sudden, the quiet person's talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could put me with the class bully. All of a sudden, we're best friends, and we're not bullying people anymore. Now we're like, I'm showing him how to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was always that person. That was always like, what? This thing that you do is really cool that I don't know anything about. Why don't we just be friends? In this one respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you're really good at this thing, and I'm not. So, like, I want to know more about that thing.
But you still operate the same way, right? Even to this day.
I was just talking about this with someone the other day. Like, my entire personality, part of the reason that I feel like I'm a halfway decent conversationalist, forget sales or anything else, but I genuinely want to know.
Right.
You're
just curious. You want to know everything about somebody if you're interested in what they do or what
And then
makes them tick.
I like to think that I was raised in a somewhat polite manner.
Yeah.
So like for me, I can ask really tough, deep questions of people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I can talk. People have this. There's a tendency among people that I meet within, and I'm sure Max can attest to this, but within the first 2 or 3 hours of meeting me, they'll stop themselves and be like, honestly, I don't know why I'm talking about this with you right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like I could just, you know. And
that
I'm like,
is accurate. That is true.
No, it's true. Because we've had some hard
you want.
conversations before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where it's like, honestly, I'm coming from a place of ignorance.
Yeah.
And being like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have experienced something like this in the past, so I might be able to help you, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I'm usually a third party to whatever is being talked about.
You're like a mediator, a critical thinker in that aspect.
Definitely a critical thinker.
Yeah.
I question everything.
Yeah.
And you might think, like, it's not always to the person's benefit either.
Right.
Because you might think that you're like, well, isn't she just a bitch because I did and if I think you were the asshole, I'll tell you. I'll
Right.
go, well, wait a minute, why'd you do it like that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go this way? Is
Right.
it really her fault, his fault, whatever?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yep.
And I'm it's like an investigative, inquisitive personality that I have all the way around when I'm fighting with anybody. And I don't mean fist fighting. I mean, like, if I'm arguing with you, it's always a question I'm asking.
Right.
I've never come down, you suck because you ba. I go, why would you do this?
Yeah.
Explain it to me.
Yeah.
Because if you can answer it good in the first sentence, I might not be mad anymore.
Right. You might be like,
I might go,
all right,
fuck,
well,
that's a good
I see
idea.
that. Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking for the shady bullshit.
Yep.
Someone's always trying to get one over on me.
Yeah.
And I have to look out for myself.
Yeah, sure.
But you can look out for yourself without being an asshole all the time. So come at it from a questioning, inquisitive perspective.
Yeah. You can't just,
you know what I mean?
So you had a shift where you went from like short fuse to now you're asking questions and you're sitting there and really critically thinking about everything somebody's saying. Well, if you're in an angry situation.
You can live your life as the short fuse person, but if you have no money like if you know what seriously speaking,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
have nothing,
Yeah.
you don't get very far.
No, you don't.
Because all of a sudden people go, hey, you're just an asshole. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to be around you. Yeah, I don't want to work with you. He screams at me for no reason.
Right.
And, you know, and then like I hate the phrasing of it this way, but I've had my own traumas and bullshit that play into the short fuse thing.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? But I just realized, and I try and keep it in the forefront of my mind, like, you didn't grow up with me. You know, Max didn't grow up with me. Josh didn't grow up with me. Like, they didn't experience the same things I did.
Right.
So, like, they have no fucking idea where I'm coming from
Yeah,
or why
true.
I'm asking or why I'm getting upset about certain things.
Yeah.
And it's really not their fault either.
Yep.
So, like, I got to deal with my own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that by saying to people, hey, when you do this, this is the way it comes off, comma, is that what you meant? Your entire world changes.
Yeah.
Your entire world changes. Because if it is what you meant, and you did intentionally mean to make me feel like a piece of shit,
Right.
okay, let's go out back.
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, I would even go as far as say 99 times out of 100, that's never the intention.
Yeah. But
And people go, oh shit, I didn't mean to say that. Oh my God.
To go the extra mile, though, and try to clarify that is surprising because I feel like a lot of people don't do that and they automatically will assume you're being an asshole.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
I've had that plenty of times. I mean, think about trying to read somebody's emotions through text message and how fucked up that can get and how quick that can be a problem.
Oh, yeah, if I don't understand something, first thing I say is, what do you mean? First thing I say is, what do you mean?
Yep.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? And if you can't, see, here's the thing. Like, if you say something dumb, right? I hate brown chairs. And I go, why? And you go, well, it's just because I hate brown chairs. You're just a douche.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Right.
What are you talking? If you say, well, you know, it's not that I hate brown chairs, it's just that I'm not really a fan of the lighter brown. I feel like I can't go with as much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm being dramatic on purpose, picking the chair thing. But like, okay, well, at least you have an opinion. Yeah. Like, you have a well thought out opinion. You're not just an asshole who can't even talk about their positions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and so this is obviously a much deeper topic these days about being able to defend what you believe in and why you believe certain things and stuff like that. And it's, you know, it is what it is. But I've just always been like that. Yeah. I have friends who are extremely Republican. I have friends who are self-avowed communists. They just are. Huh? I'm not going to have their kids.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, like, you know, but like I can be friends with people who I disagree with on certain aspects because they have a right to live their life the way that they want to.
Yeah.
And as long as they're not infringing on my life, and as long as I'm not trying to control their life, who gives a shit? We're trying to make a movie.
That's the American
way. Put that light over there.
Yeah,
we got a roll camera.
Yeah.
You know, like that's my life.
Yeah.
And I work in an extremely liberal industry.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that go very far left, but like I'm cool with it as long as like you don't hate me for not believing in all of that stuff. And as long as we can talk about things, you know, you just try and keep topics to like things that
business and related to what
things that are related, you know. And I'm decent. I will say,
you always have to steer people back. I mean, obviously with the election that just happened and whatnot, people always try to steer the conversation that way. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, you got to give them like the short answer, just like, oh yeah, like, you know, we'll see what happens, or like, you know, even though deep down you feel very strong, like one way or another, which most people do. I feel like on a professional level, I feel like that's kind of just what you have to do. You have to just kind of sideline it.
I feel like, and maybe it's because of social media. It's like an interesting point that you bring up. I don't know if it's because of social media or what, but I will say that I think that there's a lack of professionalism among young people. Like, but I'm saying like when I was because people say like, oh, well, you know, it's just a different day and age. I'm not talking about when my grandfather was 19. I'm talking about 10 years ago. You know, I was 19 and like people would walk into the dealership and think I was the general manager. Now I look older and all this other stuff,
but yeah, it's just all about carrying yourself.
But I conducted myself like a fucking professional person.
Right, exactly. But that's the difference between all those 20-year-old kids that are not going to go anywhere and people like us.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of people our age that are complete bums, still live at home, have nothing going on. They work wherever they work, and they not even that they're bums, they just have no drive.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, and that's what it is too. It's the drive, because they're complacent at, and they'll say they're not. This is like this warped perception of reality where people are like, well, I want to be a billionaire, Okay, but you work at Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
There are kids, and there's nothing wrong with working at Dunkin' Donuts, but you're not going to be a fucking billionaire.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Identify a problem.
Yeah.
Identify a problem where there currently isn't a solution.
Yep.
The fastest way for money. I'm not in this for money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not in this to be a billionaire. It
Right.
might happen someday, but I genuinely enjoy editing and making movies and
You're
making
passionate
podcasts.
about it.
And that is a stronger drive for me. I also have to pay bills, right?
Yeah.
But that's a stronger drive for me. How do I make money doing what I love?
Right.
As opposed to, I want to have all the money in the world to do the things that I love to do.
Yeah, but if
right?
you're good at what you do, your passion's going to drive you and the money's going to follow. I would say in most cases, depending on what your industry you're in, it usually will follow you.
Yeah, I agree. I would also argue in conjunction with that you don't have to be good at anything. You have to be good. The one thing that, if you're not good at anything, the one thing you have to be good at is making friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can identify and create the correct team to execute your vision, you're golden. You're solid.
Yeah, and that's something that I've tried to instill.
You know what I mean?
No, I've sat there and tried to beat that into not beat it into my team's head, but definitely like, guys, do you want to be a manager? Yes or no, right? It's always that question. You sit down. Do you want to grow in this industry? Do you see yourself staying in this company? Do you want to be here long term? And a lot of the people that we have been there, like I have some guys that have literally been there since we started the company, and they have no plans on leaving. But I feel like we painted a good vision along the whole way where it's like, listen, we're going to add trucks. We're going to add guys. This guy's going to move up. That guy's going to move up. All these people are going to move up. You got to paint the vision like, hey, we're all going to get rich.
So I agree. I will say, I'm wrong, but I will say that there are definitely people who are complacent, and this is okay. Not everybody has to be Jeff Bezos, bro. That's why there's one of them.
Yeah, of course.
Right? There have to be the people that work, that make the coffees, that clean the toilets, that do these things, that are like, okay. There are definitely people out there who are okay with that as their job for the rest of their life. They're going to get a nice pension. They're going to retire.
Yeah.
They might go to Boca. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might do their thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they go to Wyoming once every couple of years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're okay with making 50, 60, even $100,000 a year. Like that's what they're okay with.
Right.
And they're okay sustaining, and their spouse, husband, wife, whatever works as well.
Yeah.
And they got a couple of kids in public school.
Yeah.
And that is what it is. And that's fine.
But they love it.
But that's okay though, right? Like the conversation isn't going to resonate with every single person.
No.
When you say like, oh, do you want to? I'm just saying like in addition to what you're saying, like it's okay to be just the employee.
But that's
who doesn't want to be the manager,
right?
Like, that's okay,
and that's why you got to sit there and like, especially in our industry, you got to be able to sit there and go, listen, like, here's all the benefits. Like we offer all these fucking crazy benefits, and we go way above and beyond. You're not going to find a plumbing company around here that does what we do. But we go way above and beyond just to be like, if you don't want to be, same thing. If you don't want to be the manager and you just want to like run a truck and be a worker bee or just be on the install team for the rest of your career, we have a path for you to follow. And yeah, you can make a bunch of money and retire and be set and do well, but not be up here with everybody else.
right?
Right,
Because you don't have to be.
Yeah, you got to just have a home for everybody. If you can find a home for everybody and they're happy in their little home, then you're good.
I think the concern, at least for me, is that loyalty is dying. It's a dying thing where people are so like the people that want to just be employees. It's happens more often than not that you're more concerned about, are they going to stay though? If they don't have the drive to want to grow in the company, what's their incentive to stay? You know what I'm
that's
saying?
why I feel like you kind of have to.
That's the part. What I'm saying is for people, because I'm good at talking to people and understanding people. That's the part that I've always had trouble connecting with.
Really?
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is like, I've always wanted to be the head honcho. Okay. When I was 17, I worked in a butcher shop, but I was a bagger and a cashier. But when you walk in, they had the meat case right in front of you with all the guys in the white lab coats that were the butchers, right? I walked in for an interview as a cashier, and I was like, how do I get that? How do I do that? I've always wanted to be the president, or not the president, but you know what I mean? The top dog.
Be the top dog. Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'll handle it. There's no amount of pressure that can get to me.
Right.
Like I will figure out a solution, even if the solution is to like self-detonate, like worst case scenario.
Yeah, of course.
But like, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, I'm a very solution-based person because I don't like to deal with bullshit.
Yeah.
And there's so much time. Like okay. if we were on a film set,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we were fighting, and you were fighting with another person on the crew, and I come over and go, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, well, she said she doesn't like my shoes today. I'm being dramatic on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like my shoes.
I like your shoes too.
Thank you.
But I'm saying I like my shoes.
Yeah, I like your shoes too.
Thank you. But but like if you guys are arguing about something that has nothing to do with is this going to move us forward?
Yeah.
Do it off the clock.
Right.
Do it when I'm not paying you.
Don't hem and haw about something either too, because that just wastes time and resources.
Well, one of the things about owning a business that's very different, especially if you're starting and you're young and you're starting a business, don't work with family and do your best to not work with your friends. You know what I mean?
The not working with friends thing has definitely been, well, I wouldn't say challenging, because I mean, I only work with one of my friends. You know what I mean? Somebody who I can say I've honestly been close with for a long time.
Sure.
But I've definitely had and brought people in before and been friends with them and been like, this is a fucking disaster. This cannot happen.
Yeah. My 2 rules are don't work with family and friends and don't shit where you eat. Like yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah. So like I will, it doesn't matter how big I get as a producer or as a director or whatever. I'll say it right now. I don't care. They could be the hottest person in the whole fucking world.
Not happening.
I'm not sleeping with actors. I don't mess around with people on set. It never works out in your favor.
No,
never.
Of course not.
And like the thing is especially with actors, if I say that I'm going to start, dating or being with somebody who's in my industry, we're just never going to work together.
No.
So now it becomes a competition. Who's more successful?
Right, exactly.
It's like adding fuel to a fire that doesn't need to exist at all.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to have that fire.
See,
just stay the fuck out of it.
You're also in a trade that's very evenly split. I'm in a male-dominated trade, so I have less of that to worry about.
Yeah, not always, but now it is. I will definitely say there's a lot of female and male, and everybody is like all congregating together.
Yeah, we don't have that problem. I feel like in ours, it's just like everybody just does their job and goes the fuck home.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is. I feel like, but that's probably not always going to be the case, but for right now, it's, that's the way it is, which is cool. But the family and friends thing, I would agree with, but I run a business with my brother and my dad, but
which is fair. I think it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Your dad, who I've met, is very knowledgeable.
Right.
He's a great guy. You have a great relationship with him.
Right.
If you're coming from a family where, and this is not my situation, I'm just saying, if you're coming from a family where your dad owns a business, but he's a complete, drunk all the time, alcoholic,
that ain't going to work.
The second you step into his shoes and he still has say, because this is the thing, that the boss never leaves if they're family.
Right.
The boss never goes away if they're family.
Right.
So when, listen, that may not be a bad thing. I love your dad. I think he's a great guy. I've met him for an hour total.
Right.
I think he's a great guy. But if you're in a shitty situation, if your situation is shitty before the business, it ain't going to get better adding business
No, it's not.
into it.
No, not
That's
at
what
all.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you have a good foundation and you want to go into business, fine. But like, especially with working with your friends too, or like, your significant other spouses, we already went over that.
Yeah, that's
but
a mess.
But with friends and everything too, if you value your friendship, why would you put yourself in a position where your income is determined, especially if you're not on the same level?
By one of your boys.
Right.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
This person who was there for you when your girlfriend dumped you in 10th grade or whatever.
Right.
Now you got to fucking yell at this guy or write this person up or do all these. And you're putting yourself in a situation where you're like, okay, so let's say you have to write up one of your boys, 5 of your friends, you all start a company together.
Yeah.
And now some of them are working underneath you. Some of them might be above you, whatever. You're getting pressure from the guys up top. You're getting pressure from the guys below. But I'm your friend, bro. Like, what the fuck, dude? Could you just cover me on this one?
Yeah.
And maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you're in a fucking horrendous mental situation.
Yeah, of course.
Where it's like, dude, this shit's not personal.
No.
I'm running a fucking business.
Yep.
And how are you supposed to write up your best friend and then go to the cookout with him after? How are you supposed to go to their house for Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Yeah. You're like, hey, bro, we still getting drinks on Friday? I know you wrote me up. We still going out on Friday with Jimmy?
Right.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has the mentality that it's just business. It's not personal.
Yeah.
When you work with friends and family, it is personal.
It can get dirty, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me personally, again, no ill will toward anybody who wants to do it that way. My mentality on it is I already have a big personality and my family's full of big personalities.
Right.
And we're all incredibly stubborn.
Yeah.
So like I am always right, but so is everybody else in my family.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we're talking about. You know?
Yep.
So for me, I say I'm going to step away. I'm not going to be a part of that.
No, that's fair. I think that's actually been a challenge that me and my dad and brother have faced, is like actually being able to figure out and communicate and be like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? What's my opinion? Throw it in the pool, whether we have somebody in there to mediate like a coach or we're just going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's made me a way better communicator because I'm dealing with literally like two other people that are very much like-minded like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like sometimes that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah.
it definitely, it's good. It's given me different perspective on things. And I think it's made me more of a critical thinker.
I also think, not to go on and on. Well, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast. It's fine.
Right. I also think, and Max can attest this, I set myself up like in interviews to be the worst possible boss you could ever imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
So you set it up to just be like, are you an asshole when you do the interviews, or are you just...
No, I tell them that I'm an asshole. Like what I'm saying is I describe myself as like, out there, it might be democracy. In here, it's worse than communist China.
Okay.
I want a militant crew of people that will not argue with me,
right?
That will not tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And part of the reason for that is because I'm okay with things being my fault. So I'm all right with if the whole world burns down
and
you're like, well, Nick told me to do that.
Well, it's Nick's fault.
It's my fault.
I'll eat it. Yeah.
Right?
I'll take the L.
And I'm okay with that because I'm usually on a level of like, okay, I can fix whatever I'm telling you to do. I can either do it myself if you fuck it up, or I can get us out of whatever situation it is that like potentially could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like I don't necessarily care about but it's out there. It's 2024. In here, it's 1956.
All right.
And this is my house.
Right.
I am the dad, and this is how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this is like, it's still a free country.
Yeah.
So like if you don't like that,
you're
home. Not obligated to work
you can
here.
Just go.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And then once you start working, if you get past that point, with me, I'm like, hey, did you want me to buy you lunch today? Oh, and I love everybody.
Yeah, then you're chumming it up. Absolutely.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But like you got to understand when like I am not telling you to do things because I just want to push buttons.
Right.
Like we need to get this shit done. This
is
what is important.
I feel like employees, and again, younger employees tend to forget that they're getting paid to be here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's like you're sitting there and you're like, why are you're getting paid all this money and all these benefits to be here? Like, why? Can you just listen to what I have to say and listen to what I'm telling you to do? Because I promise you, I'm steering you in the right direction.
I'll go so far as to say it doesn't even matter how much you're making. It could be $150,000 a year. It could be $10 an hour. I was so grateful when I started at the butcher shop. It was the first real job I ever had.
Yeah.
Where I was making $8 an hour. They increased me after 6 months to $8.25. I thought I hit the fucking lottery.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, are you sure?
Yep.
All right, 25 cents. Are you sure? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and not because I don't think that I'm worth it, but because like I'm not here to rake you over the coals. I'm here to just do my job. Well, and it's not a difficult job either.
I mean, I feel like you probably grew up with your parents, you know, when they probably explained, you know, they raise you in a way where like, yeah, you're going to react wildly to that 25% raise and be like, holy shit, like, are you sure? That's a lot of money.
Yeah, there was no raise in my house. There was no money in my house. I didn't get an allowance.
Yeah.
I mowed the lawn because I was told to.
Right.
And then it became, if you don't, that's fine. You're looking a little chubby. You don't need dinner anyway, do you? Right. Okay. Oh, you do want to eat. Mow the fucking lawn.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was not like I didn't get the shit beat out of me all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got a couple of spankings when I was young.
Everybody does.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was very like cut and dry.
Yeah.
Like I'm not asking if you want to mow the lawn.
Just do your fucking job.
Right. I'm not asking if you like think it would be fun to take the trash out.
Yeah.
Get off your ass. You live under my roof.
Yeah.
I pay for everything.
Yeah. Take
the fucking trash out.
Right.
My dad, I was a smoker in high school, and for most of my 20s, I smoked cigarettes. And my dad or my mom found the cigarettes in one of the drawers in my room. My dad, I'm not kidding, he took the door off my room. He was like, "You don't deserve privacy." Not in my house, anyway.
Sick.
Now, at the time, I was fucking pissed. I was 17, 18 years old, girlfriend, pissed off that I had no. Oh yeah, yeah, it was horrible. I'm like, all this over cigarettes? Fuck, I need a cigarette. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was my mentality, you know? But like looking back, like you couldn't argue with that.
Yeah, no, you couldn't.
How do you argue with that? Well,
Yeah.
shit, the guy pays for everything. He told me not to smoke, and he did threaten. This is the thing. My dad followed through.
Yep.
There was no empty threats.
He just took the fucking door right
and
off.
And because there were no empty threats, when he said, if you don't get off your ass and do this right now, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, I was like, oh, that's real.
Yeah.
And even if it's not, I don't want to find out if it's real.
Yeah.
That was my mentality. The parents who don't follow through with any sort of discipline,
yeah,
or parents that discipline over nothing,
yeah,
right? So
that,
if you
creates
just
an extreme one way or
if
another.
you constantly discipline your child and never have any sort of reward of any kind, not that I'm a parent, but I'm saying I used to be a kid, right? So like if you constantly discipline your child and there's never any sense of reward and there's no guidance, it's just you suck all the time.
Yep.
Your kid's gonna, when your kid enters the workforce, he's gonna go, well, I suck. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Usually, I did it wrong.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you just create a bad employee at that point.
Right, exactly. And if you don't foster, like my dad was really big. I love my dad. I can't wait to have him come in. I want to interview him too. But and he's such a sarcastic. But you think I'm bad? Oh my God. My dad, I'd have friends over. My dad would go grab my stuffed animal from when I was 3 and be like, oh, look what Nick sleeps with. Like, he's such a dick. You know what I mean? But he's funny. And for me, growing up, I was always like, okay, I don't want to get yelled at, or I don't want to, like, my dad would just fix things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I couldn't do something, he would be like, well, dummy, why didn't you just do it like that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so watching him, and then I would be like, well, I don't want to get called a dummy. So how do I do it and say, okay, Dad, I have this. You asked me to do this. It's done now. Here you go. It's all set. How do I get to that point?
Yep.
And then I would start doing it. So then it would be like, now I'll see somebody who's like, you know, doing something dumb.
Right.
And I snap because I can feel the pain of like, if that was me.
Yep.
Like, that's where that comes from.
Okay.
Why would you
that
go this direction?
Yeah.
You stupid fuck.
Yeah.
When I know, because listen, if you're actually stupid, I never yell at you. I treat you like gold because you're dumb.
Right.
If I'm like uberly nice to you, it's because I don't feel like you can handle it.
Like you don't know,
what
better.
I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're smarter than that. What the fuck is wrong
That's
with you?
exactly where it comes from.
Yep.
Why are you acting like an idiot? You're not an idiot.
Yep.
And I never call people anything like I'll never be like, oh, you're an idiot. I'll say, why are you acting like an idiot? Because you're not is the last part of that sentence. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's for me is a fundamental core principle of like the way that I work.
Yeah. And being a boss.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it. I
Oh, see, I like it.
being called a boss?
No.
Oh.
It's fun. You actually you get a sense of enjoyment out of like running the ship and being like, hey, I fucking did that. Like, look at all these people helped me come to this end result.
When it goes right, yeah, you feel that.
Yeah, but when it goes wrong, you know things are gonna get fucked up. You know that.
Yeah.
You just have to sit there and be willing to accept the L.
I guess. I think I'm.
Are you like more of a perfectionist to the point where you're like, I don't want to take the loss?
No, I think. That's an interesting question. I think that my mindset is more driven around what is the end result.
Okay.
So like, and I'm just using what I do, right? If it's making a movie, is this going to help the end result, the end film?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to help make it better? Is it going to cost us time and money?
Yep.
And if we all do the same thing, I would much rather people come up to me and go, oh, that movie you made was so good.
Right.
As opposed to like, you're the best boss in the world. Like, that doesn't fucking matter to me.
Okay.
I don't care if I'm looked at as like the nothing guy. Yeah. Like I don't care. Like it's not the accolades for me. It's not like you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like what is the project? Yeah. What is the task at hand? How do we do how do we accomplish the task in the best possible way that we can? Yeah. Right? So you'll if you ever are in a group of people with me having a conversation, the guy that's like, yeah, I don't know if we can do that because I don't know if that. I like stray from that person, and then the person in the conversation who's like, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, why don't we just do this, which is completely out of left field. I'm like way more into that person.
Yep.
Way more like, oh wait, you have a solution and it's crazy and out there and nobody else thought of it?
Yep.
Well, why don't we try it?
Yeah.
Because the only other solution is we say fuck it and everybody goes home.
Yep.
So it's like, let's figure it the fuck out.
Those people make the best employees.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
You know what's funny too is they don't always have to be a genius. Like sometimes.
Oh my God! Some of the people are the biggest fucking idiots ever.
Yeah, they're literally stupid, and you're like, "Whoa! I can't believe you just thought of that. That was great."
This is so interesting that you say this. So I'm not. I don't know how long you want to go. I'll go for 6 more hours.
Well,
I don't give a shit.
You know, we're getting down to the clock here.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say that I think one of my talents, is identifying where I don't believe in stupid people.
No,
I think that
where's the strength?
Yeah. Because usually wherever their strength is, it's something that's a weakness of mine. Because if it's not, I'll do it myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like if I identify your strength and I think that you're doing a great job, then like, okay, great. And also focus only on that for the rest of your life or the time that you work for me.
Right. That's all you do. You just go like this.
Right. I don't need, as an example, I don't need the sound guy telling me where to put the camera.
Right.
You know? And my sound person, by the way, does not tell me where to put the camera.
Right.
And when I go on set, I go, hey, are we? And they go, yeah, they're all sound mic'd up, ready to go. Done.
And you're like, beautiful.
Done.
Yeah.
Roll camera.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You're the best sound guy in the world. Great job.
He literally is, actually. I refuse to make a movie without him on sound. So that's how
fair.
I am, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it.
You got to find the guys that are going to be like good at stamping license plates if you're not. So I can be a very disorganized person. So I have Megan in the office who literally, I'm like, Megan, I need you to remind me at 3:15 to do this. And by having that person who helps me stay structured, well, now my structure and ideas can come together, and then we're making shit happen. So
super important, dude.
Yeah.
No, I'm proud of you. It's cool to see somebody else who's young, who's like starting and running a business and doing their thing and like attacking it and willing to try new things and do whatever it takes, because that's really that's the beauty.
Yeah, you just got to go outside the box and
you
just
have
try.
to.
Yeah, keep trying until it sticks.
Yeah, that's
it. You're literally just throwing shit at a wall until something sticks. You're throwing darts at a fucking wall until you hit the bullseye.
Right.
I'll throw 1,000,000 darts. I will just continuously throw darts until I die.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's tiring.
Yeah.
Now it's the end of the day. I'm
pretty wiped out.
Yeah, I'm winding down.
Yep.
You know, but it's cool. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
and
definitely rewarding.
Thanks for having me on. I thought we were going to talk about pipes and valves.
No, dude, I didn't want to do that. I just, I like having, perspective of another business owner that's around my age, very much around my age is good. Just because I wanted that perspective. I like hearing people's different perspectives. So thank you for coming on.
Of course, dude.
Next week we're going to have Dave on, and he's going to, I don't know what Dave's going to probably talk about heat pumps and heat pump technology and a bunch of, who knows? We might start there. We might end up running into something completely fucking different. I have no idea, but I feel like it's always kind of a wild ride here since we started.
I will say I enjoy your podcast. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I enjoy your podcast, and I think you have some really interesting people that come on, whether it's an old friend or your dad or somebody you work with from the office or somebody out in the field. I think it's pretty cool, and it offers a different insight into the big fat Italian guy with his ass crack hanging out fixing your toilet.
Right.
That's not what plumbing is.
No.
But the general consumer thinks it is.
Yeah.
So to have something be completely different, I think it's very interesting, personally.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool, man. Well, I'll be here next week because I'll be back behind the cameras.
Yep, we'll be back, though. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks, Nick.
No problem.